Alright guys, what's going on? In today's video we're going to be discussing, is Thailand still cheap to visit in 2025? So for a long time, ever since I said to people that I wanted to visit Thailand, loads of people were always telling me how cheap it was and how amazing it was. After the pandemic, a lot of people kind of changed their stance on that. A lot of people started to tell me, you know what, since COVID's happened, the prices have gone up so much, it's not the same as before. Before it was super cheap, but now it's kind of just going towards like European prices. It's not how it used to be. Before you could eat for like £1 and it was dirt cheap and all of that. I'm sure you guys have heard the same thing. And I was like, you know what, let me go see for myself, because regardless of the price, I wanted to come here. So I came here without high expectations. I kind of lowered my expectations all round before coming to Thailand regarding how the whole experience was going to be and the prices as well. I've been here now for about a month and a half, I believe, maybe a bit less than that. And to be honest, I don't see what people are talking about when they say it's super expensive here, or the price, maybe compared to the past, the prices may have gone up. And there are certain things here that are expensive. Not even, I would say certain things, but not that many. I think the thing about here is, if you look for the good deal, you find it. If you don't look and you just go with the first thing that you see, then you pay extra. And obviously a lot of people, they come here on holiday, they just want to get the easiest option, the first thing they see, and they end up paying for it. So someone like myself, who doesn't just go for the first thing they see and actually tries to work out what is the kind of standard pricing, what is a good deal, what's a bad deal. If you're like this, you'll do absolutely fine here, because this is a place that has different price ranges for absolutely everything. So we're talking accommodation, food, services, everything. There's a lot of things that are kind of aimed at tourists, I guess you could say, and you're going to pay more for that. But there are far more local services, local restaurants, local accommodation, and you pay far less. So just have to look around a little bit. Now, in this video, I don't want to go into all the details about all the small little things. I love these kind of videos, but I hate it when they start telling me about the water bill, about the electricity bill, how much all the little things cost. Because at the end of the day, I don't really care about those things. I just want to get a general vibe. Is it expensive? Is it cheap? How much is it generally going to cost me? Now, the big thing you need to take into account when coming here is your time horizon, your time frame. Because a lot of people go on YouTube and they watch videos like the cost of living in Thailand, and they're watching someone who lives here full time and then applying it to their trip of 2 weeks or 1 month. And of course, if you're going somewhere for a month, you're not going to get the good deals on accommodation. You're not going to, find all the little places that do the food for cheaper. You're not going to find all the good deals. So basically, you're just going to have to deal with whatever you can get. When it comes to accommodation here, I would say that it's going to be cheaper than most places regardless. Like the most really touristy places, here the accommodation is well priced, I believe. The special thing about Thailand is you can go and find accommodations, an apartment or an Airbnb, a house, whatever, and it's going to be almost the same price as what you'd expect to see back in Europe. They do have some more expensive options here. But then if you just search a little bit, you can find somewhere in the exact same area, maybe not of the exact same quality, but for literally 25% of the price. So they always have good options here that you can get, that you'd be happy with, that will make your experience good, and the price will be amazing. So if you don't care about money and you just want to spend here, you're going to be able to find something good, and it's still going to be a fairly decent price. But if you actually look around, for example, in Koh Samui, I paid for 1 month of accommodation through Airbnb. It was an apartment. I think I paid £250 for 1 month, which is a pretty crazy deal for your own apartment. In Koh Tao, I have a little, I don't know what you'd call it, a little shack, I guess you could say, on the side of the mountain. and I pay about £400 a month for that. So as you can see, those prices are crazy. Now, if you go and book things for 2-3 nights or for a week, you're not going to get those kind of prices. Of course, you're going to be paying short-term prices, which means the cost is going to go up. When you see the videos online of people talking about their crazy apartment that they have in the middle of Bangkok in a high-rise building that's super luxury for $500 a month, they have that, and it is true, you can get that kind of stuff here, but they're getting it on like a year-long basis. So they've locked it in on a contract. Of course, anywhere where you lock something in on a contract, you get a big discount. So, or not, yeah, a big discount compared to what you pay for short-term booking it, because you don't cause the owner any inconvenience, any hassle of having to clean the place all the time. You look after his place, he gets the money, you get a discount as a result. Now, when it comes to food here in Thailand, one thing that a lot of people do, they don't realize that when they come here, they eat at restaurants all of the time and then compare it to back home where they eat from the supermarket most of the time. And they say, oh, I spend so much more on food here. Well, of course you do if you go to the restaurant 3 times per day. But restaurants here, if you go to the right ones, they're really reasonable. There's going to be a big price difference, especially if you're trying to eat like foreign food, like European food. Whenever you see the European part of the menu, the price is always significantly more. I'm talking like, it'll be like triple the price. If you're happy eating Thai food, you're going to be able to eat for like £2 in basically any area. So I think that if you're trying to do here on a budget, or you're someone who just loves eating Thai food in general, the amount you're going to spend is going to be so much lower than someone who just wants to eat European food. For example, a burger and chips here is usually going to be £5 to £7, which compared to somewhere like London is a really good deal. Before we move on, look at this tree. I don't know how they've done that. They must have taken years to grow out. Probably put something around it. I don't know, but I think it's kind of impressive. But back to the thing. Food here, you can eat good for like £3 or £4. Now, don't know if I can go much further, but we'll go back. Yeah, so food here, £2 or £3, you'll get by. You start spending like £5, £6, £7, you're gonna eat good. So food here is not too bad. Now, when I was in Koh Samui, the prices were significantly higher than anywhere else that I went. So Bangkok wasn't too expensive, Koh Tao's not too expensive, Koh Phangan was all right, but actually Koh Phangan was a little bit more expensive than I expected for the food, but that's because I kept going to the European looking places. So in Thailand, one thing that you'll notice is that depending on who the place is aimed at, the price is going to change significantly. Of course, if you're going to a place that's for Thai people, you pay a lot less, but they don't always look the most appealing. So you have to kind of decide, especially someone like me, my main goal here is to not get food poisoning. That is my biggest fear. Getting food poisoning in a place like this, you lose so much weight, you just lose days of your trip. It's not worth it, so I'd rather pay a bit more, and as a result, I don't have to get food poisoning, or I greatly reduce the risk of getting food poisoning, which for me is the priority, so I don't mind paying more. The people that like taking risks, especially the people that go and just eat street food all the time, they spend like literally 75% less. They just run the risk of getting sick. So depending on whether or not you're a risk taker, you can reduce the amount that you spend on food significantly by eating more locally. I do it a little bit, but not too much. Other than that, if you're going out and partying, for example, drinks here, you're going to spend like £2 or £3 per drink. It's not super crazy here. I think some places, if you went and bought like bottles and stuff, for example, it's going to be significantly cheaper than what it would be in other countries, in other nightlife places, which you might say, oh, it's in Thailand, of course. But when you go to like Bali, for example, a lot of those places aren't cheap. You're basically paying the same price that you would pay anywhere else in the world. So just because it's in Asia or Southeast Asia doesn't always mean it's going to be super cheap. In Thailand so far, other than if you go to like one of the rooftops in Bangkok, you're spending like £2 or £3 per drink, which I think is reasonable in tourist areas. Now, in terms of transportation here is really, really cheap. I'll be honest, if you want to hop on Grab, for example, you can get a motorbike taxi in most places for like £1. So you're in Bangkok, you want to scoot around the city, if you're willing to take the risk of going on the back of a motorbike, then it's going to cost you like £1, £2 maximum. If you want to get a Grab, which is the equivalent of Uber, if you want to get in a car, it's going to cost you like £2, £3, £4. So it's not going to get too crazy. It could go up to like £10 if it's really busy, but generally it's not too bad. Now taxis is where it gets expensive. For example, I arrived on this island here. This island, people say, oh, it's mafia run, so they don't let Grab operate. I don't know the truth, but it is true. There's no Grab here. So I had to get a taxi. I ended up paying like, what, £15, I think, for the guy to take me 5 minutes. He dropped me in the wrong place and literally just ran away. Like as soon as the things were out of the car, I looked at him and said, is this the right place? He just looked at me, got in the car and drove off. So taxis here, they're not great. They charge a lot of money. The same as everywhere else in the world. Taxi service is usually pretty awful and they charge a lot for it. So no changes there. You're going to pay the same price in a taxi here that you would pay somewhere else. And I'm sure in Bangkok they whack like a tourist price on it too. So yeah, if you're someone who likes to catch taxis, don't expect to save much money. It's expensive here as everywhere else in the world. As for services here is where you see the biggest savings or the biggest discount compared to most European, let's say America, Australia, countries like this. Services here are significantly cheaper, which obviously makes sense because the wages that people earn here they're significantly lower than in Europe, for example, which sometimes makes you question, why am I paying extra for these things in certain restaurants when I know your rent is low, your staffing costs are low, buying the actual food is going to be significantly cheaper than back home, and yet the prices are still the same. So you get that in some places like Koh Samui, sometimes you're paying the same price as back home. And I'm just thinking to myself, the owner of this restaurant is making a killing because all of his costs are like less than 50% of what they would be back home. And he's charging back home prices. So, you know, it is what it is, but that's not every place. When it comes to services such as, for example, getting a massage or anything you need to get done, here it's going to be significantly cheaper than back home. I think you can get a massage here for like 300 baht for an hour, which is about £7.50 for an hour of massage. Now my conversion might be a little bit off there, but it's roughly that. £7.50 for an hour of massage is crazy. That's a crazy price, you know? So things like that. Now I haven't used a ton of services here, but I think the massage is a good example. Where I live in the UK, I think it's about 50 or 60 pounds. And I don't even know if that's for 1 hour. I think that might be for like 40 minutes or 30 minutes. But a massage in Australia was what, $80 per hour? And here it's the equivalent of like 15. So what's that? Almost a 5x discount, which is crazy. So I know a lot of people when they come here, they just want to get massage. I haven't really been to get any massages here. I probably should do because my back's in pain, but I just haven't gone in there. But from looking at the prices, when you look at things like that, the services here, that's where the big discounts are. So food is cheaper than back home, but maybe you're going to look at like a 50% saving. But when it comes to services, there is a huge difference. They also have a lot of things out here like suit tailoring, all of that. I haven't really indulged in any of it, but there's a lot of things out here that you can get on a big discount. When it comes to like phone contracts and stuff, I think I paid £5 for the first SIM and then I topped it up with a tenner. That got me like 30 gigs of internet. I haven't run through it, so that's been good enough. Other than that, I think that's all of the general costs that you'll have out here. So yeah, overall, could you live out here for like $1,000? 100% you could if you were staying here longer term. If you're just coming here on a short trip, don't expect to be able to spend just $1,000. You're going to incur a load of additional costs that you didn't expect, that come out of nowhere, and you're just going to have to pay them, and that is what it is. That's traveling, that's life. So could you travel here on $1,000? You could, but you're gonna have to really, you know, try and save. You're gonna have to stay in hostels. You're gonna have to eat in just Thai food, basically, in cheaper restaurants. But it's perfectly possible. If you want to travel more comfortably, you're not going to be able to do it for $1,000. Now, could you live here on $1,000 a month comfortably? I would say yes. If you're smart and you took everything into account, I think it's perfectly possible. So that's it for today, guys. That's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. As I said, I wasn't going to go into so many specific details about all of the small things. Just give you guys a general gist of how it is. But overall, yeah, compared to most places in the world that you're going to go traveling, Thailand is significantly cheaper and offers an amazing experience at the same time. So I would 100% recommend it to anyone who's thinking of coming out here for a trip. 100%, hands down, this place is amazing and it is really good value for money. So if you've enjoyed the video, guys, like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you again in the next video.